everybody, Hildy here, Pink Plants Lady. Welcome back to my channel. I am back. So I'm hoping that my voice holds out. This is my first video that I am recording since my surgery. I had surgery on the 19th of May for a huge mass. Actually, it was 20 centimeters. That was in my lower abdomen. So just to give you perspective, it was this big, 20 centimeters. So it was the size of a, I don't know, loaf of bread. I don't know. Anyway, I just went through a really rough time because them cutting that out, it was a vertical cut from my navel down, and the recovery, oh gosh, I don't know, has been something that I knew it was going to be rough, but I guess I didn't expect it to be so rough. So it's been a little over 2 weeks, and I can finally move around a little bit easier and get what was I gonna say? I can get in and out of bed by myself and stuff like that. So let's get started with this week of June 8th through the 14th. The theme for my group is the moon and stars, but it is the kickoff of the World Cup, and therefore I have decided to do something a little bit different than the theme, which of course I will be doing the World Cup. The World Cup is going to be hosted by Canada, US, and Mexico. So the colors I'm going to use are blue for the US and green for Mexico. Let's see. Green for Mexico and red for Canada. Let's see. I know that, oh, here it is. Is this red or orange? I can't tell. I think that's orange. That's red. All right, so right now let's put these down first. The first game is actually on the 11th, which is a Mexico game against South Africa. And I do want to, okay, I'm trying to decide how to do this because I have some decor I want to put down, so I'm not going to put it against there. I hope that's straight. And then I'm going to put this blue here and this green one here, like that. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so these are the three foundation colors. So then I'm going to add some different little, and I'm going to use the boxes that have lines in them for this spread. Oh shoot, I don't have a dark blue with lines. Okay, so then I'm going to have to do one without lines. Look, I can cough. It was really painful to cough before in the last couple weeks, so it's something new that I can do. Little steps are exciting. Yes, so let me tell you guys about what happened. So I went to a doctor's appointment, and because I felt like I had rocks in my stomach, that's the only way I can explain it. My stomach felt really, really hard, and I hate my voice, sorry. So my stomach felt really, really, really hard, and I thought it was odd. You know, I knew something was wrong, honestly. I kind of suspected that it was infection, that you know, women problems, we can't usually always use the bathroom and stuff like that. So I kind of thought it had something to do with that. And so I went to the doctor and asked about, you know, that. And she did examination, and then she did a, what do you call that, internal examination. And then I could tell something was wrong by her expression. She said, I need I need to get you to get a sonogram right away. And I'm like, okay, sounds like a plan. And she's like, I mean, I think I went to my appointment like on a Friday and my sonogram was on Monday. That's how urgent it was. So on Monday I had the sonogram, and then she called me that night. So when a doctor calls you at night, it's not the most reassuring thing. I was a little perturbed. I mean, not perturbed, I guess that's not the right word. A little worried from that call. She said my lab results were worrisome, and she wanted to refer me to this other doctor, and she also wanted me to have some MRIs, and also wanted me, what was it, MRIs and something else. And I said, oh, okay, well, why do you want me to have all this? And she said, well, your test results for test numbers for the cancer antigen are really high, and so we want to make sure that that's not something we need to worry about, blah, blah, blah. And I said, of course, that made me freak out a little bit inside, because throwing around the C word is kind of nerve-wracking. She goes, but, you know, it's probably not that. It's just worrisome, and so we need to just, you know, be safe. And I said, okay, no problem. So, needless to say, the doctor she referred me to was an oncologist, gynecologist-oncologist. And my journey began. I went to meet the doctor. He was a specialist. Actually, he was the head of the Georgia Cancer Center, very well known, very well respected. He he told me that, actually he made me feel a little bit better. He suspected it was something else that's really rare, but still wanted me to have a CT scan, and what else? A CT scan and more blood tests and something else. I think that was it. Blood test, CT scan. He canceled the MRIs. Why? I don't know. He didn't say why. He just said he was going to cancel the MRIs, that he preferred that I just go get a CT scan. And so that was the next thing, was getting a CT scan, and it all blurs together. My surgery was set right away to remove the mass, because he was just kind of telling me that the mass was really big. At this point, the mass was like 12 centimeters. And again, for perspective, 12 centimeters. So from the moment that they took my test to the moment that I had surgery, this thing had almost doubled in size. It was growing super aggressively, and it was also my CA-125, my cancer indicator, was going up exponentially. It went up from 200 to 400 to 600. By the time I had surgery, it was over almost 800. And so I did a lot of research, as you know, ChatGPT and all those are either your best friends or your worst friends. And I just had to know all the things, and so I kind of expected that it would be at least a stage 3 or so. I was hoping for stage 2. So I went to the second appointment, my pre-op, and talked to the doctor again. And the surgeon was going to be this woman. named, well, I'm not going to give her name, but anyway, so the surgeon, she wouldn't give me any direct responses, but when I asked about it, the probability of it being cancer, she said it was high, but we won't know until the surgery. And I kind of had already done entered all my lab test results into programs and, this and that, so that I kind of knew what to expect. It was a really trying time because I'm a very healthy individual. I never get sick, and so I don't take medicine. When I have a headache, I forget that I can take like a pill, and then by the time I do think about it, it's already like either gone, or I'm just like, oh crap, I could have taken that and not had a headache all day. Just I always forget. So I went through a lot of thought processes about what to do, how things would be handled. It makes something like this clarifies what you will do, what becomes important. And my main worry was for hubby, him being by himself. That's what worried me the most, which, not for myself so much. I was like, well, I'll just go through whatever I have to go through and deal with it the best that I can. But I'm really worried about hubby and how he is going to get through this by himself. And we live by ourselves with just our 2 dogs, and so yeah, it's kind of my main worry was just for him. And I want a girl on this spread. I'm thinking her. She's gonna dress sporty, with the t-shirt. The World Cup's gonna be in USA, so it could also be her. USA and Mexico, so I kind of like her too. I might use that one. Yeah, so oh man, so many thoughts. Talk to my daughter, talk to my spiritual advisor, had lunch with my pastor's wife. Just I wasn't preparing for a worst case scenario, but I was also preparing for the fact that I didn't want to be surprised and sit there and like freak out. I was like, if worst comes to worst, I will already be prepared and I'll have all my plans. I just, looked at my will. I looked at, made sure all my accounts and passwords were available for my husband in case, you never know with surgery anyway, not just cancer, but surgery. So after all my paperwork and everything, then I felt a little bit better. The day of the surgery, I was not very nervous. Actually, it was kind of a just get through what you got to get through, go where you got to go, that kind of thing. And we got to the hospital early enough, went through all the pre-op stuff that they had to do. Then got in for surgery. So, of course, I don't know how long it was. I didn't feel it. I was under. My daughter said that they were in the waiting room. They didn't get any updates until the surgeon came out and called them and told them that she needed to talk to them privately, so that she took them to a room where she said that my husband went pale and her heart was about to beat out of her chest because they're like, why are they calling us to a private room? It must be really, really bad news. But she said as soon as they entered the room that my surgeon's face lit up and she smiled at them and she said, you're not going to believe this because we are still trying to process it. But your mother does not have cancer. She has a very rare case that's called Meigs syndrome, which is the mass, even though it was very aggressive, was benign. And what it is with this thing called Meg syndrome is that it it, how do you call it? It's a copycat. It copycats ovarian cancer. And so that's what I had. I had the copycat. Now, there's two sides to the copycat, which is like, yay, it's benign and it's gone. But if you don't catch it, the copycat, as you guys saw, because of the size of how big the tumor got so fast and how big and how high my cancer indicators went, it's super, super, once I get to a certain size, it's super, super aggressive. And people actually can pass away very easily from it because it ends up suffocating you. And it grows so big that it can't get removed. So it ends up suffocating the person who has it. So yeah, that was where I've been. I think I need something else, and I don't know if it's flowers or washi or what, or maybe I should just quit, as I often tell myself, and then I don't. So I woke up from the anesthesia, and the first thing I saw was my daughter and my husband's faces. And my daughter said something about cancer, and I thought to myself, yeah, I know I have cancer, duh. You know, I mean, not I know, but that's what I suspected. So yeah, it was not a surprise. And then I guess I went back to sleep or whatever for a little bit, and then I opened my eyes again, and her face was super bright and looking at me with a big smile, and I thought she was being very, very brave. And she said, "Mom, did you hear what I told you?" And I said, yeah. And she goes, and I kind of stared at her, and I think she knew that I was thinking to myself, well, I kind of did, but not really. And she said, "Mom, you do not have cancer." At that point, of course, I started crying. I don't know that I can explain what I felt. I think it was a mixture of disbelief and joy and gratefulness, and I just couldn't believe it, y'all. I really could not believe it. And I just kind of was sitting there going, how the heck is that possible? How is it possible? I still don't know what to think. I have my post-op appointment today. I am going to ask a lot of more questions, mainly because I just don't know what to think, you know. It is one of those things that has taught me a very valuable lesson. I'm still learning one of the lessons. One of the lessons that I'm learning is patience, because it is so hard to go from me being super active and always doing stuff to barely being able to move. There were days when I cried getting into bed, cried getting out of bed, cried going to the bathroom, cried walking from the couch to, you know, the kitchen. I couldn't do anything without it hurting so bad. So now I can move. I just stood up while I was talking to get the planner. I can actually get in bed and out of bed without it hurting. Too bad, it hurts a little bit still. But I just cannot tell you. I know that a lot of people use this word when the news spread at my church and everywhere that it was a miracle. I do believe that God heard the prayers of my prayer force. I had a prayer army. So many people were praying for me that I have no doubt that God heard all those prayers. I don't have any doubt about it. I just think that I have been so blessed. And yes, I'll take this pain and I'll take however long it takes me to recover, because I know that I don't have cancer. So hope you guys like this spread, and now that you have an update on what's going on with me, I will be back with next week's spread. I think this is kind of blank right now, but I'm going to be filling it out. I am traveling this weekend to go to a book event. Well, that's if my doctor lets me. I hope so. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.